Hello and welcome back to the channel. So it seems like the Premier League may have taken a break for a short while, but rumours and transfer speculation won't. And one name that just seems to never want to go away from Liverpool Football Club at the moment is Martin Zubimendi. And again, now we're being linked with the possibility of signing him, although this time in January as opposed to the summer transfer window. And I wanted to basically dive into this now, give my thoughts on the situation, explain some of the things that I've seen, some of the things that I think are wrong, and also judge whether or not I think it's a likely transfer to happen based on what we've seen so far from Liverpool this season. So the first thing is, I believe David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano have made comments about it, but the comments have been taken and slightly twisted to fit a certain narrative. So, for example, when it comes to David Ornstein, he said Liverpool may revisit it, and also that it struck similarities with the Virgil van Dijk deal that Liverpool done before, where we wasn't able to get him in the summer transfer window, so we revisited it in the January transfer window and got our man then. So, what I would like to say specifically on the Virgil van Dijk comparison is that it's two different situations. So, for example, with Van Dijk, he wanted to join Liverpool, but the problem was that Southampton wasn't happy with the negotiation tactics of Liverpool, and obviously they wanted to play hardball because they wanted to try and keep their man. And it was then in January that Liverpool went in there, paid, I think it was a £75 million, but knowing that the player already wanted to come. The difference with Martin Zubimendi is that he's already rejected us. We know what it would cost to get the deal done. There's a buyout clause in his contract, which means that all that has to happen is the €50 million or however much it is gets paid. And if he wanted to come to us, that deal is completed. However, he rejected us. It wasn't a case like Van Dijk, for example, where the club are playing hardball with him or anything like that. And I think when you have a rejection from a player, it does kind of spark a lot of differences in the situation now. Firstly, I admit it's entirely possible that if Sociedad start having a bad time in La Liga, if he suddenly realizes that he made a mistake, if he just the call of Liverpool is too great and he's having sleepless nights in the mountains and he's thinking, I wish I joined them. Obviously, it is possible that he can change his mind, his agents and his representatives get in touch with Liverpool, and then we can start to talk about a deal going forward. So I admit that can happen, but the likelihood, it doesn't seem likely to me at this current moment. And the reason why is, A, obviously he rejected the club. B, I don't see any actual credible reports that are coming out saying that this can happen. It's all a lot of ifs and buts and similarities here and similarities there, but nothing that actually sits out to me and says, yeah, he's said it, or anything from Spain is coming out about it, or his representatives have hinted, or anything like that. It's taken the word from journalists that Liverpool may choose to revisit it, which of course they may do, they also may not. And also I think Fabrizio said that he had no idea what will happen, and then people are taking that as, oh, it's not a flat out rejection, so therefore there may be some legs in this. So for me, I actually don't think that this is a deal that Liverpool are going to look to do. And there's another reason behind that as well, and that's Ryan Gravenberch. I think at the start of the season, a lot of Liverpool fans were, I think understandably, not overjoyed with the idea of Ryan Gravenberch being our number 6. And the reason for that is probably because we've seen Ryan Gravenberch play in that, more of a number 8 role, more advanced, more of a ball carrier, as opposed to someone who sits in front of the back line. But seeing the start he's made in the opening 3 games, I think a lot of Liverpool fans have now been converted over to maybe this is a good opportunity for Ryan Gravenberch and we can really see what he's going to do. So I admit at the time, whilst I wasn't necessarily dead against the idea of Gravenberch being that number 6, I always thought it was wise for us to have a backup for him just in case it doesn't work out. I think Liverpool, by them going for Zubimendi, suggested that they wasn't comfortable with Gravenberch playing in that role themselves. So therefore, maybe getting that option there would have made sense at the time. But we've all seen just how good he's been. And I think we need to give him time to see whether or not this position is something that he can play more of a long-term role in. And I don't necessarily see why we should jump to conclusions to say, oh yeah, we can get this new DM when we've all been so impressed by what we've currently seen. I do also agree that we do need to bring in a backup, though. I don't think Endo, for example, can play the role that Gravenberch is playing anywhere near the standard of Gravenberch. Just like, if I was to be completely honest, I don't think Gravenberch could play as that out-and-out destroyer type defensive midfielder like Endo can. But we know now that there's a slightly different position and role and style of play that Slot's looking to get out of his number 6. So having someone who can do that role and actually just take some of the burden off Gravenberch when he starts to get tired, or if he starts to play too many games, especially when you've got, for example, Champions League, Cup competitions, Premier League, all coming thick and fast. I think it is good to have those options and have like a backup and a number 2 just in case. But at the same time, you need to cover yourself because of the potential of injuries and suspensions and other things that can happen during the course of a season and potentially will happen. I think that failure to prepare is preparing to fail. So if we don't have the options, if something happens to Gravenberch, we can only look at ourselves and our planning and say, okay, well, we made a mistake here, we missed the ball, and action needs to be taken. So I think that's the case. And I also think, judging by the words of Slot when we agreed to loan out Bajcetic, that the long-term plan is for him to come back and also fulfill that role as a number 6, which would then give us those 2 options that we're looking for. So I don't know whether Liverpool at the moment will be thinking to themselves, well, if we bite the bullet for one season with Gravenberch and Endo as the backup, and if we really need to, we can try other options such as McAllister doing that role, or Curtis Jones coming into the team, or however they're looking at it, but biting that bullet for one season. And then when we have Bajcetic, we have our 2 established players. Or whether they would say in January, you know what, we're pleased with the work that Gravenberch has done, however, we do need to get that specialised player, and pulling the trigger and buying Zubimendi at that moment in time. What I also do think is, for example, if Gravenberch continues to improve and get better and better and better, would Liverpool, being honest, with what we know about FSG so far, do we think they would spend the £50 million or €50 million on a player who's going to be back up to Gravenberch? Because I do think there is a sense of unfairness that, a lot of Liverpool fans dismiss Gravenberch from being able to play that position. He then comes in and plays so well that Liverpool fans now want him to play that position. And then, and then FSG and Hughes and Edwards suddenly decide that they're going to go out and replace him anyway. So I think that at the moment, this is obviously just purely my opinion, and I'd like you to let me know in the comments down below what your feelings are on this. But if Gravenberch is playing well, it's his position to lose right now. And I think that we should give him the chance to see how he can progress in that role. A lot of people were saying, yeah, he's played well against Ipswich and Brentford, but we'll see how he gets exposed against the likes of Man United, Arsenal, Man City. And I think, we've seen how good he was in the Man United game. So there's no real reason to think that'll change in any other games. If he's playing specific style of play, specific instruction, if Liverpool are changing their style based on our opponents, then surely we need to give Gravenberch that chance to be the number 6. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below, what's your opinion? Do you think there's a chance that Liverpool will go back in for Zubimendi? If Liverpool were to go in for him, would you want that deal to take place, or are you done with the whole Zubimendi transfer saga? And what do you think about Gravenberch? Do you see him being the long-term number 6, or do you see him more as a stopgap until Liverpool actually do bring in that specialised player they've been looking for? And if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Please, if you feel like it, subscribe to the channel. I've been growing a lot recently, getting a lot of new subscribers, so everyone is welcome. And I want to give a massive thank you to everyone who has subscribed. The comments I've been getting recently, the likes on the videos, has all been massively appreciated. And if you do subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified when I next go live. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.